Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Thought-Provoking Conversations with Speaker Truth Academy. I'm so sorry that we are late. We're supposed to start at 2 o'clock, but due to network problems, we were unable to do so. But good news is we are here now. Sorry for the rudeness. I am Nkosingphile Kanyile, and I will be your host for today's conversation. And I'm very happy and privileged to say I am not here alone. I will be joined by my fellow panelists, who I will ask to just quickly show their faces. My panelists, could you please switch on your cameras? I'll ask you guys to just briefly introduce yourselves to everyone. And then once we've gotten all the pleasantries out of the way, we can start with today's conversation. We have so much to discuss. I am so excited. Oh, there we go. Hi, guys. I'm going to start with... We are all over the place today, but look, we are here now, and there's a very important conversation that we have to have. So I'm going to start with Kefentse. I'll have you introduce yourself just briefly to everyone, and then I'll move on to Sedi and Pholani. We do have Utabo joining us, hopefully along the way. When he does, we'll also give him an opportunity to introduce himself.
Hi, beautiful people. My name is Kefentse Dlamini. I'm a digital marketer by profession, but I studied drama and film studies, so I love acting and I love the arts, I love the media. And yeah, that's basically who I am.
Thank you. Sedi?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Mpile. My name is Malesedi Tshabalala. Originally, I said earlier that I was born in Gauteng, but I grew up in Nelspruit. Currently, I'm residing in Pretoria. I studied BCom Financial Science, but I am currently a revenue analyst. Thank you.
Pholani?
Thank you, Mpile. My name is Pholani Madondo, as she just mentioned. I am. How do I introduce myself? I am Zulu. I'm from KZN. I live in Joburg now. I work for one of the biggest companies here as an HR practitioner, and I love performing. And I was very glad to hear of another thespian. I love tennis very much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation. Hopefully, looking forward to having fun, I think.
Thank you, guys. So today's topic is about adulting. And it is so funny because all of you guys fit so much with this topic in terms of where you are in your life and, the path that you guys have chosen. right? So adulting, all the pains and joys that comes with adulting, right? So basically adulting is what we would normally call adulthood, but because we have evolved into better terms and remixing the English language, we call it adulting. It's basically the term which describes growing up, having your responsibilities, paying bills, and finding a balance in your life, right? So my first question to you guys is, how do you define adulting for yourself? What does adulting mean to you? I'm gonna start with Dlamini.
Yeah, that's such a loaded question. I think, when you're younger, right, you always want to be older for some odd reason. And you finally get to be older and you're just like, what was I doing? I want to stay young forever. I feel like adulting is definitely just growing up and realizing, shucks, I have to take my life into my own hands, whether it's my job, how to navigate relationships, how to navigate co-worker relationships, how to navigate the world, and do that in a way that you still have friends, you still go out, because you are still young and you still do need a social life, but basically learning how to balance everything and learning how to deal with it in a healthy way. I believe that's what adulting should be. I don't know if I'm doing it right, hence my TikTok. But yeah, incorporating yourself into society and doing your part. That's what I believe about it.
What about you, Sedi?
Well, I would say that's when life starts, because it's when you are given that opportunity of finding yourself, making the hard decisions and the easy decisions, and rewriting your own life. I think between the ages of 0, literally, to your 21, you are given a scope of who you should be, how you should carry yourself, and how you should do life. Then when adulting starts to kick in, it's like, no, yeah, taught this is how life should be. But I think I like life in this type of way, I've never been exposed to technology, but I think I love technology. I was just told about the NS. So I think for me, it's about really, that's when life starts. That's what adulting is. It's finding yourself and trying to evolve into the person that you are called to be, and trying to leave behind who you were told to be, groomed or grew up even to be.
Pholani, what about you?
For me, adulting is literally having to decide what to eat in the morning, in the midday, and for dinner. It's like, why do I have to make all these decisions? I never had to make these decisions all the time. But yeah, for me, I think that's just the one aspect that told me that you are now an adult. And then bills and all of those things, those are just all the things that made me realize that actually there's no other. When you are having conversations with people and you're like, when I'm older, I want to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the older. There is no other older. This is the older. So for me, that's what adulting is. It's just like being responsible for literally everything. You breathing is in your hands. There's no mother that needs to feed you so that you can be alive. You have to do that for yourself. So for me, it's that's basically what adulting is. And to Madlamini's point, I don't even think I'm close to doing it right. Winging it as we go. But so far I'm alive and things are all in order. I think it's going relatively good, I think.
Were you guys ever intimidated by the concept though, right? When you grow up, obviously, as Dlamini said, when you grow up, I'm having the problems again. Sorry, guys. When you grow up, you obviously feel intimidated. You feel like you want to be an adult, right? And then you see everyone around you going through all these phases of life. Has it ever been intimidating for you guys to actually reach that point? Especially, you are just a few months away from graduation, just a few months away from literally having your life in your own hands. Has it ever felt intimidating for you guys? Sedi?
I think it was terrifying for me because when you are introduced to a world that you don't know, it's very difficult to find your feet around that. So I found it very intimidating because varsity, for example, that world on its own is completely different. It's different challenges, different people, it's different environment. There's nothing that feels safe, you know? And living home is your place that is safe. Leaving your friends behind, that is very safe. So adulting kind of rocks your boat a bit, you know, from Indian Ocean all the way to Pacific. And you're like, when did we get here? So I think I was very terrified. And I would say that it doesn't get any better with the different stages, you know? You are 21, it's terrifying. You're like, now I'm 25. Like, when did the calendar move so fast? Before
And it
you
keeps
know it,
moving.
you're like, now you are 30. And you're like, okay, now you start calculating this and this. You're supposed to have done it. So it's a terrifying stage throughout all the stages that one puts for themselves. Yeah.
Okay. Madlamin, was it ever intimidating for you?
Do you know what's funny? I feel like my transition throughout like primary school, high school, and even varsity for me, I would say like, because you know what to expect. I mean, it is scary and it is change, but like you kind of have an idea of, okay, next year, this is what I'm going to do. And I like how Sedi touched on how you have to start writing your life for yourself now. This is when you have to start making those decisions, like what to eat and all of those things. But I think that was scary for me because if you've always kind of had your life laid out for you, and now it's time for you to, you know, take that step, like, okay, I feel like I'm stagnant in my job. It's time for me to apply for a new job or level up in my career. How can I do this? How can I do that? How do I navigate boundaries? I think that was the biggest thing for me because growing up, I feel like I always just wanted people to be happy. And sometimes that came to my detriment. And so I feel like now that I feel like I'm actually settled into adulthood, like I feel like once you turn 25, your brain turns on, like as they say, your like everything is like, whoa, actually. I think that's when it became terrifying for me because I was just like, I need to drop habits that hold me back. Where do I want to be when I reach a certain age? How do I? That's when it started being terrifying for me. That's when it started being intimidating for me. As Pholani said, now you're at that old, you know, what you want to be when you grow up. I'm at the grown up, you know?
I'm at the grown up.
Like that's where I'm at now. Like I can't look at my mom anymore, you know. I have to make my own decisions, you know. My mom can't be like, you can't be friends with that person. I need to figure out like, is this friendship beneficial for me? Are these people pushing me to where I want to be? Are these people good to me, you know? And so I guess that's where it's terrifying for me, like making those decisions. And so for me, my life would be like, oh, okay, change is scary, but I'm okay. But when it transitioned into now I need to make my own life, that's when I was like, this is actually very easy. That's why I posted that TikTok.
Yeah, very helpful too. Pholani, what about you?
I think, I don't know if I had a chance to be terrified, to be honest with you. I can't tell you exactly when. Like I think Madlamini said, when you turn 25, that's when you get a switch to say you are now an adult. I don't think I had that moment. Maybe it's that thing, Guguti, males are delayed a bit and ladies are ahead. I don't know, but I'm not here to confirm any stereotypes. But I'm just saying, for me, it didn't. I don't think there was ever a time where I was like, okay, now I'm switching over. But it's the little things. Like I said, it's the deciding what to eat. It's the having the bills now. You know, it's like there are these things that you now have to start doing that you realize that, oh, my mother used to do that, now I have to do that. My father used to do that, now I have to do that. If a car needs a tire, I can't now phone my dad. I'm like, hey, daughter, come, you know, I have to make a plan for myself. It's like having to go to work. No one is here. Like how back in the day when I was in high school, people would be like, you need to wake up, go to school. No, I have to make the decision to actually wake up and go to school and be early, and do the things that need to be done. So I think for me, more than anything, it was just an accountability thing. For me, I just became accountable for a whole lot of things that were not,
Right.
that I was not accountable for before. And I think that's the only part where I'm like, I have people that are dependent on me making the right decisions. That's the part for me that sort of like was like, oh, that's a bit scary, because if I make the wrong decision here, it might have an impact on someone. And I think that's the part for me that was like, I didn't sign up for this, but we're here now.
Right. Oh, wow. That's very interesting, because I feel like with our generation, we are sort of redefining a lot of things for ourselves. Like Pholani is saying, you don't really know when it happened. You just woke up and, oh, I'm here. I'm an adult and I need to be making these choices for myself. I need to be making these decisions for myself. Right. But the one thing that, like I said, I've been noticing is how everyone has redefined what adulting means to them. Right. We've seen a very visible and noticeable shift from what was traditionally known as being an adult to everyone just literally living it up the way that they feel comfortable. What are you guys' thoughts on that? And have you guys also redefined it for yourselves, or do you also just gravitate towards the traditional definition of adulting, where it's how your parents do it, this is how you do it? I'm very interested in that. Madlamin?
I think we live in a very different era from our parents, so we've had to adapt. And some of that adaptations are very good. Some of them are terrible. Like, they're very, very terrible. Like, I feel like things were a bit easier in terms of adulting back then, especially with like what our economy is doing. And, our parents could buy houses, our parents could, and we can, but like the economy is like, yo, so shout out to the people who have kids.
You need to have 3 jobs to buy a house.
And also another thing I want to say, unfortunately, social media has really ruined our generation. Like, it's done a lot of good. It's done so terribly. Like, when I think about the expectations that people have, like, you'll get someone who's 22 who's already like feeling pressure because they don't have a BMW, and you're just like, you gotcha, you just graduated, like, relax, and I feel like the whole peer pressure thing that we used to go through in school has now become a social media thing with adulting, and people are not necessarily like honest about where they get the money also, like, that's why then we have scandals that come out, and it's like, but guys, do the math. How can this person be earning this much at that age? Or, like, there's a lot of, there are exceptions to the rule, but like, I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves, and not just financially, when it comes to relationships, everything. Like, I feel like social media has warped a sense of reality. And I think for me, I think that's what's different with our parents. Our parents obviously had different growing up, but I feel like with us, it's become a lot more complicated. But the good side now is like we have a digital place where we can promote businesses, where we can become influencers, where people can, travel, and things that weren't back then, So I would say it's very different from my parents. And I also see like how my mom thinks, how my mom interacts with the world. Yes, she's adapted here and there because she's had to, but you can still see there are certain roles and the certain things that she thinks about. Also, a good thing that I think that we've done is that, say relationships, right? I've learned that when you get into a serious relationship, or even if you get married one day, you make the rules in your relationship. You find what works for you. It's not like black and white where the woman must do this and the man must do that and all of that stuff. I feel like that's where our generation is doing it well, where there's not that much pressure that this person needs to do this and this and this. But the economy is hectic. Or, I need help with this. Let's help each other. Let's, And so I think it's quite different from our parents.
And then how have you defined that for yourself? how have you redefined adulting for yourself? Or rather, what things have you moved away from that would be regarded as like the traditional sense of adulting?
The first thing I'd say I moved away from is the thing of living my life according to what people think and how people see me. I feel like I've started taking that into my own hands with, listen, people are going to talk either way. You know, if you want to reach your dreams, you need to put yourself in a space where, you know, it's conducive. And another thing that I've taught myself is life isn't black and white. I don't know why we do that. I don't know why people make life black and white. It really isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray, and just kind of learning that you don't know everything, and it's okay that you don't know everything. So I've learned how to take accountability, especially in my relationships, because I mean, you can be wrong. I know women are never wrong. Women are never wrong. I never said that, but no, they never.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, especially when you're in like a healthy relationship, it really like mirrors all the things that haven't worked on, right? So like taking that accountability and being like, okay, this is where I can grow, this is where I can be better. And I think also readying myself. Like, I mean, I'm 25. My mom's already asking me, yo, dude, where are the kids coming? And I'm just like, girl. And I feel like everyone around me has children. And I mean, good for them. I'm really happy for them. But also learning that own race, own pace, you know? I need to make sure that I want to give my kids a different lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be okay with that decision. So also learning how to have that conversation with my mom and be like, I need you to support me and wait. Or just also not trying to fall into social media trends and whatnot, just because everyone is getting pregnant or just because everyone is doing this, it doesn't, but it's your time, you know? Also just leaning into God. I think when you grow older, you realize that your parents weren't lying about that. They
were absolutely telling the truth, yes.
Like, it's so true. You need to have a relationship with God or whatever you believe in, because that's going to really ground you, you know, and you need something that grounds you, and you need something that gives you hope. And I think realigning myself with that has really helped a lot. And I think that's what I've done differently is from, I would say, my peers, I guess, is just recentering myself and being like, listen, whether it takes 50 years to get my dream or whatever, I'm not going to conform to what people think I should do. I'm going to stick to my path and I'm going to fight for it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Sedi, what about you?
All right, thank you. I think Kefentse has really taken most of the points, really, because she really summed it up when she says that we are living in two different worlds. The times are really not the same. Normally, but sorry, because she'll be like, no, but it's fun. Unfortunately, they aren't. And it's not easy for them to understand because they're not in our feet. It's a different story when you are speaking from the outside and when you are a 20-year-old in this generation. So I really do agree with her when she says that we are living in a different society. How we think and how we carry ourselves, our ambitions, our wishes, our challenges, even are totally, completely different, you know? I think the point I'd like to add is that one thing that we have lost is the meaningful of small things, which is what our parents had, you know? We care so much about the big things and we care so much about the name. We care so much about making it in life, relationships, work, having the car and the money, just having it all together. But they didn't care so much about that. They cared about being happy and being content with what you have. They were not in a competitive state. And sometimes, like Kefentse was saying, that the social media has made it very difficult for you to appreciate your own journey. To say, okay, yes, I am not where I want to be, but I'm not where I should have been had I not been exposed to certain opportunities, you know? There's some of my peers that I left behind that are still, maybe they're not even studying, and you got an opportunity to go to varsity. I mean, that's a big win in our generation. People don't finish varsity. But because now you are not working a full-time job, you are working a part-time job, then it kind of takes away you celebrating the fact that you graduated. So I think one of the
Mm,
biggest challenges that we miss out, it's the small things, and being content and being happy with yourself and the journey that you are deciding on taking, and not allowing anybody to define what that journey is. And I think one of the things is that we are so exposed to a lot, and that has made us not to live a very straight, narrow life, in a sense that when our mothers and fathers grew up, you would find like in a school of grade 1 to 12. And then from there, it's either they're getting married at 20, at 18 or 19, and they must get kids after that, and she must stay at home. But the society has redefined what a woman's capabilities and abilities is, You can delay
right.
having kids
Yes.
and say, okay, no, I just want to push my career just a little bit. I'll get kids at 40. And that's a taboo, obviously, in the Black society, but you've got your own goals and your own ambitions, As a man, delaying getting married or delaying buying a car, instead of buying a car, instead of buying a house, rather, sorry, you buying a car. It's like a big deal to say, Vetu, why didn't you buy that Golf 7? And you're like, no, but I want a house first. So we are so taught into what life should be, and we are given a manual that we are forced to live out, and that has made us to be a very happy generation on the outside, but not happy in the inside.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Just before I move on to Pholani, you said something about taboo, right? And how certain things in our culture as the Black people is considered to be taboo, right? I want to just quickly touch on that before we go to Pholani, in a sense that you have things like obviously choosing to push your career and have kids at a later life. Also, when it comes to marriage, right? You've got your parents asking, "Hey, where are the cows?" And then also another taboo that we have since seen or realized is the mental health, which comes with what social media has exposed us to, because we tend to slip into depression because of us wishing to have things that are not available to us, or that we are not ready for, right? So what are your thoughts on that, Sadie? The Black taboo, right? And I want to say taboo in the Black community when it comes to those things, mental health, pushing your career as a woman to have these things later in life. Not to say you don't want them, it's just not now, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
I think I sometimes take a different view on the mental health, because sometimes we are stressed by things that we have no power over, and we are forcing things to happen and not allowing the process of life to take its place, in a sense that you are growing up as a woman, and you are finding yourself. The first thing that you need as a woman is to have your self-identity and know who you are and what it is that you want. And finding your self-esteem, just realizing what type of a person you are and what you've been through in the past. Because I think that's one of the things in the Black culture. We don't deal with issues. We don't deal with the fact that if you grew up in an abusive home, those are things that are going to be challenging even when you want to be in a relationship, That's where we even use the defense. A woman is never wrong, And we will run with that. So say, no, I'm not wrong. Like you made me feel this way, and you're not saying addressing those issues. So I would say the issue of not addressing issues as an individual and not accepting to say, no, man, I grew up at Tshabalala. It's not a millionaire family. I need to work hard. Dlamini, they've got money. They were able to take her to a model school. They were able to do this and this for her. And I can look up to her and say, okay, if she was able to do it, I'm able to do it. But obviously, she's one step ahead. And with every step that she takes, I have to take 5 more steps. So if we could teach ourselves to say, okay, I'm not there. What is the next step? Sometimes, and being honest with yourself, to say social media is a pressure. Get out. Like there's just some things that no mental health state is going to help you. There is no solution. If your mindset always has a competitive mindset, to say, oh, if so-and-so
Right.
bought this and did that, that means I also have to do those things. So I think healing is very important, introspection from where you came from and how you grew up as well. And because that impacts us quite a lot in the environments that we find ourselves. And then you find some steps to say, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. I kid you not, half of the issues, study mental state that we are faced with, we wouldn't be faced with them because we would look at life proactive to say, how can I change? Because another thing, it's the readiness of the overnight success. I mean, you can be a slay queen and get everything done overnight, but life doesn't work like that for all of us. Some of us really must just study. Some of us must study for a 4-year degree. You do it 8 years, but you can't kill yourself for that. You pick yourself, you fail, you try again. So I think if we had that mindset of teaching ourselves, especially as Black people, to never give up and always try, I think to say you have to push, you have to try, like no matter what there's just some doors that you must tell yourself, come hell or high waters, even if it's at 50 years, I'm going to get that.
I'm gonna get in that door. Wow. Pholani, I took words out of your mouth. Would you like to still answer the previous question? I was just so intrigued by Tshabalala's answer, so I had to have a follow-up. But back to you, Mr. Madondo.
Sure.
Let's hear.
I feel like the ladies have already, mentioned a whole lot of stuff that I've also, some of it I've experienced, some of it I've seen people going through it. And, to touch on the point of redefining how adulting is for me right now, I think Dlamini mentioned earlier that the environment is different now. Sometimes it's not even a case of you sitting down and saying, I actually want to do things differently. It's just the environment in itself just forces you to, to adapt and change and move into a different direction. Before, example, I probably will never live separately from my spouse, because maybe we are both supposed to be working, whatever the case is. Whereas before, I grew up in a household where the mother was taking care of the family and then the father is working for the family. It's two separate living in separate places. But in the way that things are now, I can't even afford to look after the whole family on my own. I do need, a partner that's gonna chip in. I know I'm probably sounding cheap, but that's what it is. That's where I am, and that's already shifting from what the traditional household looked like back in the rural areas, and a lot of, and they touched on social media as well. You see ladies on TikTok talking about a man must this, a man must that. I'm not saying that should make any man suicidal or anything, but I'm saying that could also be another pressure that adds on to what people if that just another thing that adds onto the pressure that speaks to the mental health of the men. I know I'm not going to try and be controversial here about why men kill themselves and but I'm just saying it's a reality that you will find that sometimes the pressure is quite high, and it's a conversation. And I know maybe all the videos that we see is that all the videos that we see are just jokes. People are making jokes, but there are people who will actually take jokes seriously. You will get into a relationship, a person will ask you, I need you to pay for this, I need to pay for that, and you are sitting there thinking, in this economy, how how am I supposed to do that? But maybe it's a conversation that we never had to say, actually, me, I'm not there. Those people who are talking about taking care of these things, I'm not there yet. So I think also to a point Yaga said is that sometimes some things we can just resolve by having conversations with the people around us, because a lot of the mental thing stems from some of the expectations that we get from the people around us, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. Maybe this is the easier way out. But if maybe you want to try and have a conversation with people, they would understand. You put all your cards on the table and say, this is what's happening. I can't do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what can be done? I can't go and steal money from anywhere because I'm gonna get arrested and go to jail, and that's not helping anyone. So, but obviously there's way more things that contribute to mental health than what we just said. But so those are some of the taboo. And as Sidi was talking, in my head I was thinking, back in the day you would hear someone hang themselves, and you would think that person must have had some sort of whatever mental health issue or depression or whatever, but because they didn't have a word for it, it was just like, we don't know, uloyiwe, or whatever the case is. And maybe umuntu akaloyiwe, they just couldn't take it anymore because they just could not express themselves, because that was not a thing back in the day. Today, now, I know I have to talk. I have to talk to my spouse. I have to talk to my girlfriend about things that are not sitting well with me, so that at least I can get to distress. I can get to ngikhulume ngingahlali ngibe ne-stress ngiyi-one, and maybe there's help. But then you go to our parents and you're like, oh, I'm going therapy and whatever. And then they'll be like, okay, but can we now talk to you? Can we ask you to do these things? Or are we now inconveniencing you? Are we now taking you back to, so that's sort of like a stigma thing that's still there. If you are saying I have a mental issue or a mental whatever, I guess it's something that's going to take a while for us to get, familiar with those kind of conversations. But I think the more we talk about it, the more it's going to be, it's going to be easier to even have those conversations in the little way that it can contribute to less people, committing suicide or having mental issues. I'm hoping and willing to start having those conversations, because I don't want to commit anything. Not that anyone does it on purpose, but I don't want to be a statistic yet. And I don't know, someone
you wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question, Pholani. From a male's perspective, right? Okay. First of all, what you said did not sound cheap. I just want to put it out there. You don't have to, that's another thing about social media, guys. It's so unrealistic. Like, we need dual income households. But with that said, as a man, right, that obviously understands that, listen, and I like that you're honest about it, that, listen, in this economy, I can't afford to do everything alone. Are you then willing to help the woman with traditional things that she has to do, like as in what her gender roles would be? Are you willing to help out with the kids? Because I mean, let's say we both go back, we go to work, we both come back home at 6, it's unfair for one person to sit on the couch and drink beer, and the other person, we just picked up the kids, getting the kids ready, cooking, all of those things. So I hear the guys' chats in general, like men's chats in general, like, guys, it's unrealistic and all of that stuff. But like, I feel like as women also, we've been pushed into a place where we need to be in dual income households and all of that stuff, and we need to also work. But we're also not being helped with the other side, because I mean, a man doesn't do this, or a man is not raised to do that and that and that. I just want to ask how you navigate it. That's my first question. My second question I wanted to ask is, you spoke about, when we go to therapy and then your parents like don't necessarily understand, like now they have to tiptoe, or they don't, like, they become weird about it, basically. So I wanted to ask, actually, this is for everyone. Do you guys experience black tax, right? And how do you, what are your boundaries? Like, how do you differentiate with, okay, this, like, now I need to try and build my own life, and also now I need to help my family because this is important to them? Because I feel like in some families, I mean, they do need help, but some people also get very comfortable and be like, Kefentse is going to handle that. She's getting paid. Let's all wait for her salary, Then, you know what I'm saying? So how do you guys navigate that? But Pholani, you can answer my first question first, then anyone else can answer the second.
Okay.
Look, I think it's first things first, it's a conversation between the two people who are in a relationship, in a household, to see how they prefer to do things. Because sometimes we'll find that a lady is actually very happy to be taking care of their family. But also as a man, me personally as Pholani, I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I grew up doing most of those things because being the firstborn child, it doesn't matter. You have to do what needs to be done. So I wouldn't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that. I even now, I still do my own stuff. Now that I won't now, because I have someone that I live with, now I'm going to stop doing stuff and let the person do that. So personally, I would not do that. But I also believe that it's more of a conversation, because I believe that there are people who, who find joy in servicing. And so I'm using the word service loosely, but
service.
in doing things for their people, in doing things for their loved ones. And if maybe the wife is like, I love cooking for my family, that makes me happy, I would not say don't cook. If that's what she wants to do, I'm not going to say don't do it. You know what I mean? But then I can imagine that there will be then other things that I'd have to then be doing, like maybe washing dishes while she's cooking or whatever the case is. That personally, I don't have an issue with. And if we're all working, then let's all work. I don't know if that's the case, then means we are now 50-50 bills. I don't know if that translates, but I'm gonna leave it there. And then and then your second part of the question. And your second part of the question around the black tax. Sure. Look, me, I grew up in the rural areas, and I did mention earlier that my upbringing, it was more of one income household. And in this economy, that's not enough. So now that I'm working, it's kind of an expectation that I should support. It's kind of what I want to do also, because I've been helped by my family. My family sacrificed a lot of things for me to get to where I am today. So for me, yes, it is black tax because that's what society has termed it. But I think for me, it's more helping out. It's more taking care of the people that, took care of you. It's more giving back to the people that pushed you to where you are. There is pushing it too far, though. I do believe that there is pushing it too far. So there is where people start making plans around your salary. That's obviously, then that's pushing it too far, because obviously we also have to be realistic about, if I only just started working, I can't now be having some money to take care of everybody. So if some people are going to now stay home and not do anything and not look for jobs and only count on the fact that I should be giving in the money, then I don't agree with that. If I need to look for the job for someone so that they can get a job and contribute, I will do that. And now this is to the siblings, of course, to say now a sibling, the same route I took to get to where I am, I expect them to do the same, and then look after the family and look after the parents together. I think it would be less of a burden on one person if we have a lot more other siblings supporting in the family. And I don't even think it would be a thing of it's a black tax. I think it becomes a black tax if we expect one person to be responsible for everybody, and now everyone is chilled and relaxed because there's this one income. So that's my view.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Sadie? Shortly.
All right, thank you. I once heard, I'm just forgetting this guy's name, but I'm a Christian, but I was really intrigued by this whole African spirituality conversation that they were having. And one of the things he mentioned was that there's no such thing as a black tax in the black society. And he goes on.
It was Umbuso, sorry.
Yes,
sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And he said something that was very intriguing. And he says, sometimes emzini siba no vusumuzi, the first boy is given the name Vusumuzi because there's an expectation that through the birth of this boy, the house is going to be built, the houses of Fuba and all of that. And I really aligned myself to that notion because we grew up, I'm sure Madlamini as well as Pholani can attest. We grew up with umama wase next door, bekungasi umama wase next door, but bekuma, you know, bekuba. We were a family. If there was no onion like hi, next door. And we grew up helping one another. I think the only mistake that our generation has lost it is just that mindset of selfishness, of saying now that I'm staying in Pretoria, it's just myself and looking at myself. And then that's where the whole black text comes in, because now your mom's going to be like, oh, but can you please help me with your sister needs this, your brother needs this. And it grew out of, I think, too much, and it outgrew what it was supposed to be, you know, because we are no longer helping out. And then also because now they don't want to study, your siblings that follow after you, they've got this expectation, you would say, Pella, Sadie's coming, she's from Pretoria and she will do everything from us. So I think black text is just, I agree a lot with Pholani that there is a limit where people now start to abuse you now giving back to Ekaya and appreciating everything that they've done for you. Because I mean, if your mom is 60 now, you can't expect her to be go working and doing all those things. But also your mom can't be like, "Guy, Pholani, we don't have electricity, we don't have this, we don't have this." And you're like, when you take all those calculations, that is 5,000. I don't know if Madlamini has faced this, whereby people know when you get paid, and when you don't have a child, everybody assumes you've got extra cash.
You have money, yes.
Exactly. You know, so I think those 100%. Are just thank you. So I think the issue of selfishness has really tainted the issue of us helping out and made us to come to these terms as about black tax. But helping out at home is really you saying thank you for raising me, and I will upgrade you guys, you know. If if it was a 2-bedroom, let's extend so that Nami, when I come, I don't squash anybody, and make the house more comfortable and happy for everyone.
You know, there's definitely a thin line between Ubuntu and black tax, right? We were raised to help. You know, if you have succeeded, turn around and pull someone else's hand and try and help in that regard. And I cannot stress this enough, there's definitely a line, you know, even if it's blurry and it's thin, and there's definitely a line. And I think it's very important, like Ulontoza Dlamini had said, how do you set your boundaries with regards to that? Something that I was able to do, I'm an outspoken person. I don't speak a lot, but when I speak. You know, I did tell my grandmother, look, I'm walking the stage in a few months, you know, and I'm not expecting you to advocate for this. You know where we come from. You know what is needed in this household. You know what I need to do, like you know, so I don't want you coming here and advocating for things that you know have nothing to do with me. They can have something to do with you because it's your kids, but they have nothing to do with me. Izinto that have anything and everything to do with me are under this roof, and it's to your well-being. And any person who is contributing to your well-being, and then I am happy to compensate for that. I am happy to help out with that. But from all different kinds of provinces, now I must pay for that. I must pay for I was just like, that's not going to happen. And I will gladly refuse in my words. I'd rather you tell your kids this in your words, but I will gladly refuse in my words. If you know, so it definitely goes back to having the conversation, you know, and especially because we are now a generation where we can define what it is, black tax, you know, but also obviously the spirit of Ubuntu lives within us. It's not something we learn, we inherit the spirit of Ubuntu, but we must be able to draw the line where the line is necessary, right? Very, very interesting topic. We should add that to our list of topics, actually, black tax versus Ubuntu, because it's such a very complex and interesting dynamic to explore. But moving on to another question that I wanted to ask you guys. Kefentse said something about us rushing to be adults and us wanting to have that sense of independence, freedom. You want to tell yourself what to do, and you want to tell yourself what to eat, and you want to buy everything. And the thing is, when you're growing up, you don't know what's everything that you want to do, you would have to fund yourself. You'd have to find for yourself. But my question with regards to, obviously this pent up desire for us to grow up, do you think our parents do enough, or parents in general, do you think parents do enough to prepare their kids for adulthood? Because you find when you reach adulthood and you're just like, I wish someone had told me about this. I wish someone had told me about this. So do you guys think the parents are having enough conversations with their kids when it comes to adulthood? Because I don't think we'd be rushing to get there if we knew what's waiting for us over there. Right? I'll start with you, Madlami.
I'm going to be honest and say no, merely because of how I grew up. So I grew up with my mom. My mom always traveled. Like, she's always been a businesswoman. She always traveled. From the age of 2, my mom always left the country, So I don't think she really had that time to sit down with me and be like, listen, this is what's going to happen. My sister, however, she was the one who, I guess she started in high school to be like, okay, do you understand? Like, it's important to save, And I was just like, save for what? I want to go buy what, you know what I'm saying? But like, she was the one that was like, yo. And then I feel like she's still my guardian person. She's not in the country though, she's in Netherlands, but I'm able to go to her and be like, yo, dude, this is what's happening in corporates. And she's like, aha, you've reached the stage. So I feel like she waits for me to kind of get to a certain place, and then she's like, then I'm like, I'm having this problem, and she's like, okay, I've gone through this. This is how we deal with this and this and this and that. Or, okay, I see you looking to buy this. This is how this and this and this and this works. I think that's my sister, and I think it's easier to relate to her because she's just 5 years older than me. I feel like our parents also right now are like, their reality is like not the same as what we're going through right now. So to have an older sister for me is like the best thing in the world, because and I have other older brothers and sisters from my dad's side also. So yeah, they like step in where I'm just like, I'm drowning, and they're like, okay, but they're more like, they're not like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna tell you like, this is how you fix the problem. They're more like, let me fix the problem for you. That's my problem with men. Like, help me fix the problem, don't fix it for me, because how am I going to fix it the next time? But anyway, yeah.
The next time, show me how to fix it.
But yeah, like my older brother, like, okay, I'm going to swoop in and I'm going to, what do you need? Do you need money? Do you need to But my sister's the one that's like, okay, you're a big girl now. This is the world. Don't do this, don't do that. And yeah, so my mom definitely did. I also don't even think school did, guys. Like, I feel like I got here and I was like, what is this?
It was honestly like a slap in the face.
And I'm like, girl, like, what? And I think also having a partner who has been in the industry for a while, like he definitely helps and guides me and stuff. So it's people who are closer to my age and people who can relate to me and be like, okay, this is how I did it. You could also do it this way. Or my sister also refers me to people like, okay, listen, speak to her. She's an accountant. She will help you do this and this and that, and she'll look at this for you. And yeah, but my no, 100%.
Pholani, you wanted to say something?
No, I wanted to say, so Madlamini was saying, that's the problem with men. Why don't fix the problem for me? Tell me how to fix the problem. I'm like, why don't you stop the man from fixing the problem with you for you? You can tell the man and be like, don't do it, I'll do it. Just tell me how to do it. Because I think that's also
they can't hear that part.
Like they get impatient.
They can't hear that part because I think that's what.
I mean,
for me, it's mostly what
they feel
we grow up being taught. That's what men grow up being taught, that you need to take care of your people. You are the fixer, and you have to, fix things in the house. For example, fix the light bulb, fix the tap, fix whatever the case is. So I guess, where do you draw the line? Then I'm gonna just fix anything and everything that I can fix. If you come to me with a problem, instead of me sitting down and explaining, men explain. What is it? Men explaining, because you also have terms that you say, men are now telling me what to do. You know what I mean? There's a lot that comes, our way as men, but we're not here to complain about that. But I wanted to just say that, Guti, maybe you can say, just give me the manual, I'll do the practical part of it.
Okay, I mean, we'll definitely take that advice for next time.
Yeah, but with me, they don't hear that. But I think, like, also it's as you said, it's all the whole thing of like, I need to do this. I'm a man, and this is how I can help and stuff. But also as a man, when you're fixing, then you say, okay, I'm doing this, and this is how it's gonna help you next time. Rather do this and this and that. And if you're struggling, then call me. Instead of like. But I will communicate better, or I'll try. Yeah.
Pholani, though, while I still have
I
you,
think
do you think parents have done enough?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Sorry,
do you think our parents do enough to prepare us for adulthood?
Okay. Look, I think they've done what they could based on what they know, right? Like we said when we started the conversation, the world is different now. Things are different now. My mom couldn't have told me anything about social media, for example, because she never used social media. So she has nothing to tell me about social media. So I just think they do what they think is best, based on the information that they have and the times that they grew up with, because they were also kids figuring things out as they were growing, and they had us. And so I don't think they also have like a manual. But I think for me, I think mostly my mom, I think we've had those conversations to say, look, she may not know about social media, but she knows, that I need to be able to I need to be able to think about my life and take better decisions and make better decisions in my. I think that's the sort of like stuff that we've spoken about. Obviously, then I will apply that in my life today to say, okay, is social media good for me? Is it one of those things that will change my life for the better? Is it, if I go to work, would it be? And yeah, also, for them, they grew up, they were grateful to have a job. Nowadays, I actually want a job that works for me, not the other way around. You know what I mean? So there are those generational
I think we're losing
differences that I know that my father was just needing to have a job and change my network. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we were just losing you for a bit there. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where you lost me, but I was just saying about the differences in generations when it comes to work. My father was grateful that he had a job and he got an income to take care of his family. So whatever the employer is going to do, he's going to take it, keep his head down and do the work. This day and age, I need the company to take care of me. If I'm not happy, I'm not comfortable with what they're giving me, I'm gone. I'm looking for another opportunity. So my father couldn't have told me, Uguti, look for an employer that takes care of you. He would say, look for a job and get an income, take care of your family. You know what I mean? So in a way, they did give, at least for me, they did give me, things like, think for, make better decisions for yourself, but decisions that will take your life to the next best, position. It's for me to then apply those principles in my today life to say, okay, now what is a better, way to do things today based on that principle. So I think that's basically, but they did what they could with the information they had.
With what they had. That's very true. Yeah. Malesedi, what about you? Just unmute.
Right.
Yes.
So I think I agree a lot with Pholani when he says you do the best that you can with the knowledge that you know and what you were taught. I had this conversation a couple of years ago with my mom, or I think it was last year, if not that other year, between the COVID years though. And one of the issues we were having was that my younger sister, there was something, and my younger sister's from the firstborn of 3 kids, right? And how she approached that scenario with her and my brother and myself was completely different. And I remember saying to her, the problem, you want to apologize. So I pointed a mistake that she did with how she did it. But now she's quick to apologize. And I said to her, you can't apologize for what you were taught. And now we are all fixing the wrongs of the previous generation. The point if you're not happy at work, your father would say their greatest achievement for spanning was that certificate. They are 50 years. What is it? It's 50 years in service. That was the biggest thing that you would have done because they never did the job hopping and that the experience that they had. So I would say that you are exposed as a parent to what parenting is through your parents, and you try to fix those mistakes through your kids, not being aware that the same mistakes that you are fixing is a mistake that I'm picking up, because now you will say I must stay in a job that doesn't make me happy. And I will tell my child to say, if you're not happy, go spanning, leave. And she will say, but Mama, you didn't teach me how to go spanning. So I think it's a very difficult, evolving journey of adulting or parenting together. That for me personally, I would say I had very supportive parents, but now I'm in the transition of unlearning the world they exposed me to because of the world that I've seen, and I'm seeing that this is the world that I want. So Sawanori, you are bringing this advice. It's good, but that's not where I envision and I see myself, because now I'm being exposed to all these different platforms to say, you can pack your bags and go live somewhere else. There's nothing taboo about that. So I think that's just one of those learning and unlearning, but parents will always try, really. Obviously, there's those things that they do right, those things they don't do wrong, or that they do wrong, but it's a constant journey, honestly, of parenting. I mean, my sister has a child currently, and we are all trying to parent that child. So imagine all those voices into one person. So that's the challenge of the Black community. You're not raised by one person. Your parents were not raised by their own parents. Everyone, literally, when they say it takes a community to raise a child, we leave those things, but they come back at a long run. Even some of the things that hinder us from experiencing our true selves.
You know, it's like I said, we have so much to unpack, but unfortunately, so little time. But I just want to give an overview and just ask you guys one last question, because I have gone beyond my time that I have asked for you from you guys. So we've got responsibility overload as adults, right? Where bills, it's all on you. Taking care of your family, it's all on you. We've got balancing act, where you now need to be able to balance all these things out and make sure that they don't overwhelm you. We've got social demands, right? You can't be in your room, in your space all the time. Sometimes you really do need to go out there and socialize and network, meet new people, create relationships, whether they are personal or business relationships, right? We have the mental load. Obviously, you've got this friend telling you this information, this friend telling you, your family telling you information, and how you are able to navigate that in your mind is very important as an adult, right? And these are like the factors which I feel, these are the factors that I feel sort of create the balance that you need when it comes to being an adult. But I want to find out from you guys, how have you guys been able to, I mean, considering the factors that I've mentioned, how have you guys been able to balance out all these things and, have it work for you in a sense where you are not overwhelmed and not overspent per se?
I will go
Pholani, sorry.
first. So I don't know if I can say that I've been able to balance, but I've been able to sort of take what works for me from everything that I hear, because I always say you will hear a whole lot of stuff from different people. Some will make sense, some will not make sense. Some will make sense but not applicable to your life. So the responsibility, again, to your point, is on me to then be able to look at my life and filter what works for me from all the different information that I get. We get information from the moment you open your eyes in the morning till the moment you close your eyes at night, and the following day, same thing. And it becomes important to be able to maybe take a break from that. I'm not a loner, but I do enjoy my space, and that, I think, for me, is the time that I'm able to actually think, to actually filter, reflect, and see what works, what doesn't work, what I want for my life, where I am right now, where I see myself, and of everything that's happening in my life, what can I do more of, what can I do less of, what can I stop completely, all of those things. I always say I'm most creative when I'm in the shower, and I'm exposing myself here. I'm most creative when I'm in the shower, because what I perceive to be my best ideas come out when I actually am in the shower. And that's when I think my mind is clear. I'm able to think clearly and make decisions. So I try to do more of that, so that I have that time for me to then discern some of the things that will be more what's the English word? Eyilungele mina. I even forgot that we could speak Zulu here. But yeah.
Okay. Madlamin, what about you? How have you been able to find the balance? Find the balance.
That's the problem. Like, I don't have balance. It's so bad. Like, I'm trying there, Marai. Like, we're supposed to. I don't get it. It's so frustrating. But I think with me, I'm trying to learn that there's more to life than just working. And also, Sadie said something very important. She said, our parents used to appreciate the little things. I'm learning gratitude and being happy with my life and being happy with the people in my life and all of those things, because that's so important. That actually really grounds you, and it actually also opens you up to a lot of blessings, because God sees that you are grateful. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's what I'm doing. I'm also learning how to pick my battles. Like, there's some things where I'm just like, I don't really have to engage in this. Like, it's okay. Like, it's really okay. And I can sit this one out. I think I'm learning how to do that. Another thing that I'm actively learning now, I'm struggling a bit, but like, I feel like I'm getting there, is boundaries and learning when to say no, when to be like, okay, no, that doesn't work for me anymore. And not feeling bad about it, because no is not a swear word, but but yeah, today, in the longest time, I'm going to see my friends. And I think, like, just talking to them really made me realize that, guys, we're all going through it. Like, everyone literally said, yeah, let's go. Like, work has been so hectic. Everyone is having like, it's so important to have those moments where you go see friends, or you go see family, you go like appreciate, and you also understand why your parents, let's say they went to go visit their friends and you're with them, and how they would linger for a while and say they're going home, but they're still in the driveway, and you're just like, are we leaving now? They're so precious. They're so precious. Like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Race your loved ones, have that extra 2 minutes, because they knew the value of time. They knew that life is so busy. Yes, we went to go visit Tshabalala, but like right now, tomorrow we won't even see her for the next month or 2 months or whatever. So that's why they lingered. After church, they would sit there and talk, and you just like, I'm hungry. But yeah, just learning, those little moments are so, and work, they can replace you. I'm so sorry, they really can. And if you don't have that balance, that's important.
That's true. That's true. Malesedi, how have you been able to find the balance?
It's So I think I'll have to learn from Pholani and Dlamini really on how to find it, because I really tried, but I've stopped, I've really stopped trying to find a balance because life can really get so hectic that you don't have time for anything. And instead, I think I was in a season whereby I was overwhelmed that now I can't do anything. So I work with timelines and deadlines. So I just do what needs to be done when it should be done. When I'm tired, I close the laptop, I'm bored. If the past 3 weekends have been very hectic, work, bonus, school, and all of that thing, this weekend it's my weekend. I'm not touching anything. I'm going out, I'm having fun. Even if there's an assignment that is due on Monday, I'll see it Sunday because this weekend I'm tired. So I think I work a lot with deadlines to say, okay, I need to do this and have to have this done by that day. And that has helped me to kind of manage and not be drowning, because really balance has been a very difficult portion for my life. You go to, what is this? You go to work in the morning, you want to work out in the morning, you want to have like 24 hours is not enough, guys, to do all of that. It's really not enough.
Actually.
So I think I just tell myself, okay, there's just certain things that I just said, Sunday you're at church, that is just not going to move. But everything else, I've allowed myself to have a very flexible schedule that works with deadlines.
All right. Pholani, did I ask you this question or?
I think I was the first to respond to it. I said I have no balance, but we push through.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, I've got so much to ask you guys, so much I want to talk to you guys about with regards to adulting, because the reality is we are going through it. We are within it. And you look around and you're just like, all my friends are also going through it. Who's going to help me with this? So, it's very important to create spaces like this, where young people can just come together and just share notes. This is basically what it is. We're sharing notes, and if this works for you, use it. It worked for me, so that's why these conversations are so important. And unfortunately, we have run out of time, but just briefly, guys, I want to ask you this one question, is briefly, just and then we'll say goodbye and we'll have your last thoughts. But I want to ask you guys, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself, or a girl, a boy in matric about to, embark on the journey of university, a graduate who just graduated about to embark into the workforce? What advice would you give them that you have now, with all the experiences and all the realizations that you have now sort of seen and experienced, obviously, are happy to say, look, this worked for me, just these things, and then you have a solid foundation. You have a solid foundation, to get into this thing we call life. Let me start with you, just briefly, guys. Let me start with you, Dlamini.
Briefly, all I want to say is breathe, and it's gonna pass. It really does pass. I'm still learning this even now, but it really does. Like, the struggles that I had in varsity are gone. The ones that I had in high school are gone. Like, it does pass. Just like keep pushing. I feel like our generation doesn't have this anymore. Just keep pushing. Like, my dad will sit me down and be like, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's gonna be okay.
Malesedi?
I would tell my younger self and anyone who's starting out in life, literally one line: close your ears and do you. Close your ears and go after every single thing that you want, and make sure you maximize life. Thank you.
Pholani?
So for me, what I would tell my younger self, I think he was too panicky and worried about how things were going to be. I would probably say we'll be okay. We're here now. I think we are doing not so badly. So, but to anyone else out there, maybe someone in high school or whatever, looking forward to going to university, enjoy every moment you are in, even if you are going
Yes.
through it. If the little that you can, I don't know if saying enjoy is the word, but go through it. If you have to be sad, go through
Experience
it.
it.
If you feel happy, go through it, so that you are living in the now. And I think we always say live in the now, and it sounds like a cliche, but really living in the now is all you have. We are too worried about what's next, what's next, what's next. Just enjoy the work, the job, enjoy this call right now, enjoy being at school. And I could talk about this until, school is fun now. Unlike when I was in high school, school is
Hey.
fun now. Enjoy that. You will enjoy varsity,
Mm.
enjoy work. You will look for a job and not find the job. Don't enjoy
Right.
that, but keep pushing. But it will go
Mm.
through it. So I think just be
Mm.
open-minded that things are not always going to go your way, but just have the hope and pray, believe in whatever you believe in, pray, whatever
Mm.
the case is. But for me, it's just go through it, man. Go through whatever it is. Just go through it.
Okay.
Don't skip it. Don't park it.
Word of the day is go through it.
Sorry,
Madlamini,
guys,
did you want to say something?
my laptop is about to die. I'm just looking, just in case I disappear.
All right, no, we are saying goodbye now. Thank you guys once again for joining myself and my beautiful panelists on this month's conversation. I think this was such an hour was not enough, but I hope Uguti, the key points that my panelists were able to dig into today help someone out there. We will be back again with thought-provoking conversations next month with a new panel, a new host, and a new topic. So thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms so that you are in tune with everything that we do. And, yeah, I am going to ask my panelists to switch off their cameras and mute themselves. And goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your evening.